Hey everyone! Today's video is about when you almost die. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Let's get going! Izuku Midoriya. Wyan was out, doing regular hero work. There was this huge villain attack, and Wyan was on scene. And Deku was on his way. Wyan was fighting a villain with a super strong quirk when she heard someone screaming in the distance. Wan's head snapped around to locate the screaming person. Just as Izuku arrived on the scene, he was about to warn Wan, but it was too late. Everything was happening in slow motion. Izuku watched as his world went down in flames. Wan was head unconscious. Deku ran over and held Wan in his arms, sobbing. Wan, baby, don't leave me. You hear me? Wake up. Please. He sat there as other pro heroes came and cleaned up the scene. By now, everyone was convinced that Wyan had died. The public was in distress. Izuku sat and stared. He barely ate or drank. He watched as his whole world, which was Wyan, was lying there potentially dead. One early morning, Izuku awoke to the familiar sound of Wyan, staring. No way. Izuku shut up and met eyes with the girl he fell in love with. They hugged, while Izuku sobbed into Wyan's shoulders, while piecing his world back together. Katsuki Bakugo. High school. The glorious days of high school. Class 1A was preparing to train in combat this lovely afternoon. Wyan and Deku were paired up, and so was Iida and Bakugo. You're about to go in a head-to-head battle with your boyfriend, Katsuki. The battle started. Deku and Wyan were moving together through the building when they hear angry stomping, and then Bakugo came around the corner. Wyan, I'll hold him off. Go! Izuku said, pushing Wyan aside. Wyan slowly walked around until she heard a loud explosion from very close to her. She ran and saw Deku on the ground. And Bakugo was about to fire on Deku again, but Wyan jumped in front of Deku. The explosion hit your back. You saw Katsuki's jaw drop as he rushed you. The world around you started to fade to black. For weeks, Katsuki sat there unmoving until you woke up. When finally you woke up, Katsuki put you in a never-ending bear hug. Thank you, Kaminari. You guys were fooling around on a playground. Denki was chasing you, and then you fell off the edge of the tall part of the playground. Denki thought you were dead. You only ended up with a severe concussion. And of course, a worried Denki. You ended up having to stay in the hospital for a bit. But thankfully, you had Nurse Denki to take care of you. Iida. You were fighting a group of villains alongside Bakugo and Todoroki. Iida was on his way. You were trying to fight 3 villains, but 3 quickly turned to 5, and 5 quickly turned to 10. Eventually, you felt yourself wearing out. The side effects of overusing your quirk were kicking in. You saw Iida, so you screamed his name before slipping out of consciousness. Luckily, everyone heard you and got rid of the villains. You were out for a week. Iida visited you every day and was extra strict once you got out of the hospital. Todoroki. His dad didn't approve of your relationship and ended up surprising you by fighting you. You got knocked out and badly burned. Shoto was furious with his father. Took you to the hospital before dealing with him, though. You were only in the hospital overnight for observations. But it was a pretty close call. Hitoshi Shinso, you were volunteering at a cat shelter in the middle of summer. Your job was to stand outside and wait for people so you could guide them depending on what they needed. You so happened to forget your water and ended up passing out due to heat stroke. Shinso only heard the word stroke and immediately thought you were dying. Tamaki, you were fighting a huge villain completely alone at the moment. All the other heroes were on their way. You were doing quite well so far, but Tamaki showed up and saw the worst thing ever. This huge villain knocked you quite far, and there was blood. Other heroes showed up, so Tamaki rushed over to save you. It turns out you landed in a pile of canned berries, and you only had minor injuries. Thank you so much for listening. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and comment. Bye!